It's illegal for armies to camouflage their ambulances. Under the Geneva Conventions, medical vehicles are protected, and attacking them is a war crime. But they must show a clear red cross to be recognized as neutral. If an ambulance were camouflaged, enemies couldn't tell if it carried wounded soldiers or hidden weapons, making it a legitimate military target. A bomb maker once attached a propeller to a bomb, but not to make it fly. During World War II, some bombs had a tiny propeller on the front or back that would spin as they dropped toward their target. That spinning propeller acted as the fuse. As the bomb fell, it rotated fast enough to arm the detonator, ensuring it exploded at exactly the right moment. A U.S. soldier was said to have hidden inside a fake wooden camel with an M4A1. His comrades stripped and painted the camel, and he stayed concealed for days. When an Iraqi supply column passed, he supposedly opened fire and took out the convoy. But the story is only a legend. Far more effective tactics already existed at the time. Soldiers would often place mouth guards before heading into battle. A powerful explosion could make the jaw clench instantly, causing the soldier to accidentally bite off his own tongue. To prevent this, they began using mouth guards that stabilized the jaw, absorbed part of the impact, and kept the tongue protected during close blasts. There was a rumor about spies using a fake eye that held a cyanide capsule. In an emergency, they could remove the prosthetic to avoid torture and keep secrets safe. It's said the Soviets considered giving this to one-eyed agents, but since simpler options like poison hidden in a tooth already existed, the idea never became real and remained just a legend. They placed his body in a sealed cask filled with brandy to preserve it for the journey. The strong alcohol and airtight container kept the corpse from decomposing. Over the next 6 weeks, Horatio Nelson's body was transported to London, where he was buried with full honors. Soldiers would sleep with a bowl of water resting on their chest. At night, enemy troops often crept into camps to launch surprise attacks. But even the faint rumble of distant tanks or approaching boots made the water ripple, just enough to wake the soldier before the enemy got too close. Place a small pin inside your shoe with the tip pointing upward. When the lie detector begins its setup questions, press your foot down on the pin. The sharp pain forces your stress levels to spike, raising the machine's baseline. Later, when you lie, your stress won't stand out, letting you fool the detector. The Germans built fake wooden aircraft to trick the British into wasting real bombs. But the British figured it out through counterintelligence. So, in a brilliant and humorous reply, they dropped wooden bombs onto the Germans' wooden planes. A perfect message saying, "We know exactly what you're doing." Soviet troops once tested a plane loaded with dozens of PPS H-41 submachine guns. The idea was to fire nearly 70,000 rounds per minute onto enemies below. But every gun had to be reloaded by hand, and the pilot had to fly dangerously low. Because of that, the project was quickly abandoned. A samurai once covered his armor with polished mirrors, saying he was blessed and nothing could strike him. When enemy arrows rained down, none hit their target. But it wasn't divine protection. The mirrors caught the sunlight at the perfect angle, blinding the archers just as they released their arrows, making every shot drift harmlessly past him. Secret police once used a chilling technique. They would place a spoon inside a suspect's mouth and press it hard against the jaw. At the right angle, the pressure could force the jawbone out of its socket, causing extreme pain but leaving no visible marks. This made it possible to torture or silence someone without others ever noticing. American soldiers would paint footballs to look like watermelons, cut off the top, and hide 3 or 4 grenades inside. They then placed these fake watermelons in actual melon fields. Each grenade's pin was attached to a thin wire anchored to the ground, so when hungry enemy soldiers picked up a melon, the wire would pull the pin out, causing the grenades to explode. On July 13, 2024, former President Donald Trump narrowly survived an assassination attempt. A shooter on a rooftop 400 feet away fired the first shot at his head. But at that exact moment, Trump tilted right to look at the char, unintentionally saving his life. 2 or 3 more shots followed instantly. Seconds later, a Secret Service sniper on a nearby roof located the gunman and fired a single, fatal round, ending one of the most shocking assassination attempts in modern history. Why do B-52 bomber pilots wear those strange-looking helmets? Because a nuclear blast creates a flash brighter than the sun, powerful enough to burn a pilot's eyes and cause instant blindness. These helmets only provide visibility for a fraction of a second, not to save the pilot's life, but to make sure he can see clearly, just long enough to finish the mission. A German sniper was firing at American troops on D-Day, but he refused to shoot one soldier, a bagpiper playing to lift morale. To the sniper, the unarmed piper standing in the open looked completely insane, so he spared him. The piper survived the whole war with nothing but his bagpipes and a kilt. Why do the Army, Navy, and Air Force salute differently? Each gesture carries its own meaning. The Army's straight salute shows their hand is empty. No weapon. The Air Force angles upward, symbolizing their mission in the skies, and the Navy keeps the palm facing down because sailors' hands were often covered in tar and grease, and showing a dirty palm to a superior was considered disrespectful. An American soldier mounted his Mk2 grenade onto a crossbow bolt after securing it. He loaded the crossbow and took firing position. While he was in position, the other soldier advanced and pulled the safety pin. He then fired the bolt, turning the Mk2 into a long-range super grenade. A soldier earns his wings, a hard-won symbol of achievement. But instead of pinning them on gently, the safety stoppers are removed, and the metal prongs are driven straight into his chest. It hurts, it bleeds, and it shows he paid in pain. The ritual is meant to build brotherhood, but it's officially banned as hazing. Yet in some units, the tradition still quietly survives. During the Vietnam War, snipers wore diapers under their suits, because once they settled into position, they often had to lie still for days. Even the slightest movement could expose their location, making it almost impossible to relieve themselves. Diapers, despite the heat, itching, and smell, allowed them to stay hidden for long periods. Samurai warriors would place grass in the mouth of a fallen enemy during battle. They did this because they often collected heads as trophies, and other fighters might try to claim them first. By marking the body with grass, the samurai signaled it was already claimed and could return after the battle to finish the ritual. Why do South Korean border guards always wear black aviator sunglasses? At the tense line between North and South Korea, soldiers stand only feet apart, staring each other down for hours. Eye contact can expose fear or hesitation, giving the enemy an advantage. So South Korea issued dark aviators to mask any nervous eye movements, helping the guards stay composed and project confidence. During the Vietnam War, Vietnamese soldiers hid grenades inside metal cans to catch their enemies off guard. First, they removed the safety pin and placed the grenade inside a can while keeping the safety lever pressed down. They would then set these cans on the ground and attach a tripwire from the can to a nearby tree. As American soldiers moved through the forest, they would unknowingly trigger the tripwire, pulling the grenade out of the can and instantly setting it off. American soldiers began planting landmines upside down on purpose. The enemy had started using metal detectors to find and safely collect mines buried underground. But when a mine was flipped, its trigger was already under tension, and the moment the enemy tried to disarm it, it detonated instantly. British soldiers began fitting metal poles with small cutting hooks to the front of their motorcycles. Retreating Nazi troops had started stretching thin wires across the roads, wires that could slice a rider's throat at full speed. These anti-wire posts allowed the British to snap the wires first, before the wires could snap their necks. The spy could discreetly press a hidden button in his pocket whenever he spotted a target. A thin wire would transmit the signal to a tiny camera concealed inside his coat button, triggering an instant photo. He could repeat the process to capture several pictures of the interaction. However, because the images often came out blurry, the project was eventually abandoned. In World War II, some tanks spun in circles for hours. This happened when the crew inside had died and the driver's foot got stuck on the accelerator, making the tank impossible to stop from the outside. Soldiers later called this eerie sight the Circle of Death. In 2010, President Putin fired a crossbow dart at a gray whale during a scientific expedition to collect a biopsy. The dart's hollow tip removed a small sample of skin and blubber before falling out harmlessly. Reports confirm the method didn't injure the whale, and the scientists thanked him for participating.